happen to be, would you consider yourself pro-life? Yeah. And Lady V will consider herself pro-life.
Yes.
I consider myself, again, you can't call me pro-life just because of where I stand. I'm pro-choice up until viability. But what it sounds like is I don't think we've really wrapped our head or like really fully wrapped our heads around the unintended consequences of what this ruling will bring and how it'll affect society. And maybe it won't affect society as bad as we think it is. And maybe it would. I guess we'll find out. But my thing is, I feel like a lot of you pro-lifers, I don't think you really, really thought out the end goal here. What happens afterwards? What happens
but
when?
What about the intentional consequences? Remember, like you're referring to the unintended consequences.
Yes.
Remember that there's a whole big chunk of the intended consequences that we're also kind of ignoring, because most abortions are actually done by, I'm talking about by the numbers now. Mm-hmm. It's an elective procedure, typically by women who are married but just don't want to have an additional child. So statistically speaking.
Yes.
So yes, it's going to have an impact in minority communities. But those minority communities are still a minority of abortions overall. Okay. So the intended consequence is that abortion will no longer be birth control for people who know better. Like these are people who have access to all of the information and the resources that would allow them to not have unintended pregnancies. And they're just not doing that because they know that they have that option to have an abortion. So if you can already, reduce the abortions that are happening by 60%, and that's an intended consequence, I think that's already a big, consequence that we are kind of ignoring.
And that's assuming that they will react that way, though. You also assuming that we're going to actually change behavior, is what you're saying.
Yes. That's right. That's an assumption.
Okay.
It's an assumption. So I think the unintended consequences are actually a minority of abortions to begin with.
Okay, fair.
So maybe let's not obscure the intended consequences. Actually, the majority of abortions happening today.
Fair. And you're right about that. The vast majority of abortions are by married people. I didn't know that until this came up. Married people that are not looking to have more kids. So in this case, let's just think of this world. The married people start having more kids. It could affect them financially, unless they go across state or they go and have one of these illegal abortions. I think it's a stretch to assume that it's going to change people's behavior. Maybe over time, maybe long term, it may. But in the short term, it's going to be a jolt to our society. No. But I don't want us to. I don't know if there are any other last words before but keep it brief because we don't have a lot of time. Yes,
really brief. One last quick thing to say is, we've talked about how a third of black births end in abortion and things like that. Mm-hmm. I think one issue to do with abortion, which we haven't yet really come to grips with, is how, and this is statistically proven, this isn't some conspiracy.
Yeah.
Abortion has retarded the overall black population growth rate.
No, it's actually kind of.
And people have said that if things go at this rate, that the black vote will become politically irrelevant by the end of the 2030s. That no one would need the black votes for anything, and you people can go and solve. So let's put it two ways. For people who might say that they're pro-choice, right? Mm-hmm. People should also weigh, and I'll just say this plainly, and it is just the truth. Mm-hmm. The way the black political structure is in this country is it depends on votes.
Yeah.
Power for blacks doesn't come from an economic base. It comes from pure raw numbers and politics. So if there is a diminishing black population base, black politicians in Congress are going to become unemployed soon.
That's an interesting thing because you're right. Like I think they say even like the Hispanic community is gonna definitely be taking over. Have they already taken over?
They already have taken over.
What's their percentage right now?
They're like maybe 17 or 18%
or
something.
And the black has kind of remained stagnant at 13%.
It's dropped to 10%.
Wow. That is that's chilling. But then again, you have all these white savior wokesters that are going to compensate.
Not even that. One thing I was actually going to say about the Hispanics also, and this might be going into tangents. It's also why the whole term Hispanic, that's another story in its own. But all I'll just say is it's a very amorphous term because they are white Hispanics.
Yeah.
And the Hispanics are as black as I am.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. But you're right about that. The effect on how it has stunted the black population. It's pretty chilling. It really is chilling. And I don't know, man. But who's to say the people that get born, the black people that get born, are still going to be able to vote? There's a lot of them that can't vote. True. Because of all sorts of issues. But I think I want to kind of, put an end to it.